What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review. Today, doing another Wasianiverson VOD review because the title of his stream yesterday was actually studied yesterday, dropping a nuke today, and I mean, he actually did. He was doing fantastic in his games today, played a large variety of comps, which is really what I am excited for. In this game is a line that I have played very little. I think maybe I've played it once so far on the PB. I've definitely not taken the augment that Wasian took this game a single time yet so far. And so I'm excited to see how he plays it, what the result is, and just in general to watch this game. So start off here with an Ornn 2. We have a LeBlanc as well. So this could be just a nice Elderwood opener. We do have this potential Rift Beast opener as well. We honestly could play around the Pebbles here just because we have the Anvils. Blue buff, super important for Pebbles. I played a Pebbles reroll game the other day, and it was amazing. So just if you are playing around Pebbles, go for the blue buff, and it will go absolutely crazy. But that's not what we're going to play around this game. We see Unrivaled here, but Bedge, we're not doing an Unrivaled VOD review. We are looking this game at Embiggen, this augment. Fey Pixies are now larger and grant 50% more AD and AP. Fey Champions gain 10% AD and AP immediately, gain a Xayah and a Rakan. Now, I wanted to pull up just the Fey trait itself to kind of give you guys an understanding of what this is actually doing. So you're getting 5% AD and AP per fairy that you get. So you can go up to 7 pixies. That's 35 AD and AP at 2. And if you get to 4, that's 8% times 7, if this thing will send right there, which is 56%. Take an extra 50% on top of that. Quick maths is 28% AD and AP onto your entire board on top of the 10% it gives you. So max value from this, 38% AD and AP, which seems really solid to me. This is assuming that the golden pixies, honestly, I have not played this augment with the golden pixies or Fey very much in general, but I believe the golden pixies do not count up past that Fey number. If they do, then this is like completely broken. But my understanding, 38% AD and AP onto essentially your entire board once you get stacked up does sound fantastic to me. So that is the idea that we're going to be going for in this game. Start off with Xayah here, the Rakan, and he's going to start team planning out the idea, which is basically we're always going to play 4 Fey on this board. We're always going to play Ornn plus Hecarim because they fit really nicely. Varus, I guess, could be your rapid fire. Really kind of dealer's choice on who your rapid fire is going to be, just because like we're not even getting Pyro in on this board just yet, but we'll see. Definitely could be Varus, could maybe be like a Felios down the line, maybe get some kind of like Lunar in on top of this board. We'll see what Mr. Iverson wants to go for here. But this is going to be the team that he plans out here with a Mumu here. This is like a pretty normal cap out here because then you get the Juggernaut as well for Rakan. So I mean, this looks pretty good to get Pyro in. Then we can skip the heal cut. It is obviously like it's going to be a while before we're level 8. So this like level 6 is really, I think, what we're going to focus on. And the only big thing is when can we get to that Lilia? Because obviously Lilia on a 1-cost reroll line is going to take a while to get to. But in theory, this line makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty smooth 1-cost reroll where the traits are not bad. You can fit the units pretty reasonably on level 5, and it's also just you roll for 3 1-costs. It's not any more complicated than that, which tends to be good in TFT. The reroll comps that tend to be awkward to play are these ones where you're like trying to roll for like 1 cost and 2 costs, or like 2 costs and 3 costs, and usually those are really driven by like the units are just like broken, or there's some like really enabling piece via like traits or something like that. But in this spot here, we have this augment that's going to make a lot of sense. We can play around the Xayah and the Rakan early. The Rakan 2 is going to be really nice. And we do also have this upside of the Ornn here. We are going to lose this fight sadly, so no big win streak this stage, but I don't think it's I don't think Wajin was really thinking that we were going to win streak super hard. Going to go for the bow here. Xayah is a very traditional, just straight up attack speed carry on this setup here. So Gwynsu Kraken style unit. You can think of her almost similar to her 4-cost self. Red buff is actually not that great on her. In the statistics, the idea is just that like she doesn't like spread the feathers like the old Xayah did. So no need to like really go for this kind of like crazy like red buff build. You can just be pretty happy with something like Gwynsu Kraken and get there. But the other thing that I was going to say is on this board, we have 5 Ornns already, pretty likely to reach Ornn 3. you can go for artifact print, which is, you know, the real big, just beautiful thing that you can get when you are playing around any kind of board that plays Ornn on it, is if you can reach the artifact print, which is once you hit Ornn 3, pretty easy to get to. You get a lot of value out of that. And oh my God, we are going to get an insane amount of value here from this charm, which is going to give us 2-star Ornn. He was considering the dupe here. It's looked like he's not going to go for it. The reason to do this here is that Ornn 3-star stacks his forge power faster. The reason to not do it is that it's not really going to make a difference here. We don't have a streak, and it's very likely that we are going to hit this Ornn naturally from rolling because we are 8 Ornns and at that point 2 Xayahs, and so we're going to need to roll on a lower level. So we might as well just save the dupe for now, especially because we're right at the end of the stage with no streak to play for. Save the dupe, roll on 4-1, hit Ornn 3, very, very likely just from our rolls that we're going to be rolling anyway, and then we can save the dupe for, you know, a Xayah 3 or Rakan 3. So I like this play a lot. Temporary Bramble Vest honestly is probably fine. Yep, we are going to grab that. And the big thing to hit here is Ornn 3. We're going to continue to roll down to around that like 33 gold amount. And then we're going to make Adaptive Helm here. Just to go back to, or not Adaptive Helm, Spirit Visage here. Just to go back to items here. He did have the possibility of making Adaptive Warmogs, but opted to go for the Spirit Visage. I do think this is just like a pretty good item onto him in general. I wonder what he does think about Adaptive Warmogs here. Actually, I'm down for a stats check on this guy. All right, so this is just filtering for Ornn 3 items in general. Really kind of dealer's choice here. Protector's Vow looks pretty good. Crown Guard does look really good because he has that AP scaling onto his shield, and I guess on his damage as well. But yeah, I mean, statistically, artifacts will probably like really skew the stats of these, so you know, it's gonna be a little bit awkward. But for the most part, it says pure tank items are good, and Protector's Vow can be pretty nice here to get him casting Crown Guard as well. These items tend to overperform in general. Just in the statistics usually, because they're lesser built. They're not like the kind of like traditional tank items that you usually go for. But okay, we are going to end up just making this Spirit Visage here, leave the cloak open. Could be cloak for another Kraken even, though I don't think so because we have the sword left here. But okay, in any case, this is going to be our setup for now. Next augment here. Don't think verticality makes much sense. Kingslayer, honestly, not bad. We do kind of need econ to get to the rest of our board, I will say. I'd probably prefer just like an item augment over this, but this might be the best. We should roll the other ones, but we also have 2 people who are higher. Well, actually, this person is tied with us in HP is the problem. I don't think you can take this. They were higher than us on the line here, so I thought they were higher HP, but no, we're actually tied. So I don't know if you can even take this then. He looks like he might go for it, though. I mean, I don't think Group Hugs... It's like fine. I don't know that it's amazing here, especially because I believe, yeah, okay, wow, we're gonna go for Kingslayer. I believe Group Hug does not work with the plants. I know for sure I took the augment that worked the entirety of last set. People played it every single time with Darkstar, the one where you have the frontliners and then they give AD and AP to your backliners. And that one did not work with Elderwood plants, which really tilted me because I was like, we just did this last set with Darkstar. It worked and now it doesn't this set. But I know there's a little bit of irregularities with these augments, but hey, we'll see. Ooh, this is really nice. Gets these consumables for Ornn. This is going to make him even tankier on this board. So the spot is overall looking quite nice, and you can see we're stacking up those fairies already. It looks like we have 5 already onto the Xayah Rakan, so really getting there on our way to that 7 pixies stacked up, which will be a ton of stats onto both Xayah and Rakan. But still, we're item holding the Ornn, 1 because we have the Ornn 3 already, and 2 because we want the ability to get stacked up. We want to be able to get all of our items. We want to be able to get our artifacts printed via Ornn. All right, yep, 4 out of 7, actually, it looks like. So maybe the indicator's a little bit weird here. But we can either go for last Xayah item here or just to finish off an Ornn item here. He did grab bow here, looks like, to finish off the last Xayah item just for... It must be GS, I would imagine, but we'll see here. Gets some more consumables, which is not bad at all here. And we are just going to roll a bit more because we're quite close to a lot of stuff here. Rolls really deep this round, but does in some ways get rewarded in that we hit a lot here. I will say this set, and this was definitely the case in Magic and Mayhem, lower cost reroll deck like this really loves the Wisps set mechanic because you're allowed to roll every single round on stage 3, either pick up combat Wisps, which is really, really good to allow you to win streak in spots like this, or you can also do what Wasian's here, Wasian is doing here, and pick up things like these permanent buffs, these 80 AES, the Armor Namar on our front line. Like, both are really, really nice. Once again, boom, we roll there and we get every 20 champion deaths gain a component anvil. And so there is a lot of value in just rolling on rounds like this, and that is what we are going to get here with the Xayah 3 and the Rakan 3. So everything now hit for the board. Was able to use the dupe at the last second, so we have hit everything, and been able to pick up some really, really good Wisps on the way here. So that's the idea. So I know PBE right now is very like Fast 9 centric, but don't be surprised if this set ends up having some really, really dominant reroll lines, just because reroll feels really, really good with the Wisps mechanic in general, and, you know, the old Charms mechanic. If you guys remember, like, the end meta for Magic and Mayhem was like there were multiple very, very strong reroll lines that people were playing, you know, up into the Tactician's Crown, stuff like that. All right, time to finish off our items here. You'd love to make a Morello. The problem is that, like, who even holds Morello in this line here? And I guess we don't even really need it because we are eventually going to play the Infernal. I would have, like, based on our planner. So I guess we could get away without making Morello and then just make double tank items here in this spot. It's a tad bit awkward, I will say, because, like, you could go Gargoyle, but then you're left with double Redemption. Don't like that. Like, what belt item are you supposed to make here is, I guess, the question for the class. And it's not one that I feel amazing about. You could go Steadfast Adaptive would be the way to get to 3-item Ornn here. I'm very curious to see what Wasian makes in this spot. That's probably what I would end up getting on. Oh, he does make the Crown Guard, like we talked about, a good item here. That does mean that he has to just make double healing. Okay, I mean, these are items. These are items for the Ornn here. We were talking just before about how good Crown Guard is. The double healing is like a tad bit awkward, especially with the shield from Crown Guard. But hey, it's 3 items onto this guy, and it will give him really, really good odds of stacking up. Also leaves the glove open, which is, I think, the big idea for Wasian here, is that we can leave glove open, potentially even get to like a TG for another unit here. Don't quite get the TG, but hey. I don't think Mana Gen's very good in this spot. Yeah, I mean, It's Me Baby is a solid combat augment, and it's even more econ generation. And the Gargoyle now going to come down on the Ornn, and now we can move this over here. I like this a lot here. And this is I think the idea from Wasianiverson is that, like, we can make the double Spirit Visage, and, like, it's a little awkward on the Ornn, but we have 2 tanks on this board. So we can put double Spirit Visage on Ornn for now and then move it down to Rakan later. And so we care almost more about the item quality than getting the triple slams here, because boom, we get that component, and now we have really, really good items onto Ornn in this spot here. So makes a lot of sense for Wasianiverson, and his board is looking really, really nice, getting a ton of damage now for Xayah to deal. Also Ornn tank up a lot here, so gonna farm an artifact probably not far from now, I would say. And we can also look at leveling in this spot and really looking for getting that forfeit in on level 8. That is how you unlock the golden fairies. You cannot get, even if you get past 7 pixies spawned, you cannot get to the golden ones. Even if you are past 7, you need to get 4 Fey in to start stacking that. It's also just a bunch more stats, a bunch more heals onto your board. So just it's good in general to play for it. So makes sense. Ornn doing a great job tanking here. Xayah doing a ton of damage, so we're going to spit out a ton from our Wisp here. And overall, the spot looking very good. Glove is left open here. We do have 7 out of 7 of those spawned already. It looks like, though, it's weird. Wait, let me read this again. This is very weird, the way that it looked there, where it said, this is getting covered up. Current Pixie 7, next Pixie. How are we at 7 Pixies, but there's another Pixie? I guess this is, but we can't start it in the Golden Pixies. This is a weird indicator here, I will say. But either way, we're either at 6 or 7 Pixies, so both options pretty good in this spot here. Is going to take the bow here for our duo carry. Looks like we didn't have the opportunity to take glove. I'm maybe too much of a TG enjoyer, but I still would have been looking for TG if we could find it. But either way, this is fine. Gonna have to find low-key somebody better than just a Varus to sit onto this board. The Aphelios and like maybe a Loon eventually onto this board. Maybe Diane eventually, we'll see. I mean, that would be the natural idea, is play for Aphelios. You could even just play Trist onto your board. Probably wouldn't be the worst, just as a Trist 2 with all this extra Pixie stacking up. Pretty unfortunate fight for Wasian unless Ornn can clutch it out here. But Ornn, I mean, there's so much healing coming through this Rengar here, so I think Rengar can clutch it out. The Ornn's doing a great job. Oh, it was close, yeah. But I mean, still a good long fight where we got a lot of stacks of Fairy, though I guess it doesn't really matter at this point because we are at max stacks, I believe, and definitely going to be there before we get to 3 Fae onto this board, or 4 Fae, because we have 3 right now. We really need to just wait until we can level up. So that's the spot. But I will say as well, this board just performing really, really nicely. The Xayah doing a lot of damage on this board. The Ornn tanking very, very well. I think this extra AD AP really nice onto the Xayah here. It meant that we don't even have to build anything like a Deathblade onto her. She can just go crazy here, especially, wow, with this extra. I mean, she's getting AD, AP, AS, damage amp from our augments here. I mean, there's a ton. And peep this, we have Flicker Blades as an option here. I was looking at the stats, and I thought the stats actually said fish bones here, so I'm down to see what Wasian says in this spot here. Maybe he has another filter that I'm not seeing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He just looks at the stats. Okay, let's pull up the stats. Yeah, so these were similar-ish stats that we were looking at. This video was, or this VOD is from yesterday, so maybe it's not real, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised here. The statistics to me seem to point to Fishbones being better than Flicker Blades in this spot here. Maybe he's filtering down for like, I mean, it's a little bit hard, but like you could even go like crazy and filter down for like, okay, if you have Guinsoo on Xayah and you have Kraken on Xayah and then you look at Artifact, then it actually starts to look a lot more even. Maybe this is the stats that he was looking at that actually say that Flicker Blades is quite good in this spot. But hey, in any case, we do take the Flicker Blades. I guess he doesn't have Kraken. He has the GS. But I don't think any of these. The only thing to say is that he's like getting AD from Fae, so he doesn't really need that much extra AD from the Fishbones. That's like one of the big selling points to Fishbones is the extra AD. But of course, the LW going to move over. We can finish this Guinsoo Kraken, or actually, yeah, he's going to move the Guinsoo down. Okay, actually, I really like this. Move the Guinsoo down there, and then just go Kraken plus the Flicker Blades plus the GS here onto the Xayah. Only downside is the Guinsoo does help stack the Flicker Blades, and actually, I wonder if Guinsoo is better just because she's already getting so much AD from Fae. But looks like he thinks this is better. I mean, to be fair, like if you put the Guinsoo on her, it's just attack speed to stack up the Flicker Blades, which only exists to give her AD anyway. So all roads lead to having a bunch of AD onto this Xayah in this spot here. And his thought process is just, especially with it's me, baby, especially with the fact that Xayah has a attack speed steroid built into her kit. He's just going to skip the Guinsoo, put Flicker Blades on top of her, and I'm pretty sure the stats would agree with this call here, is just use Flicker Blades as a replacement for the Guinsoo. And we're going to start printing here with 4 Fae in. We're going to get the extra gold every few rounds based on how much damage we do and how much damage our board tanks. The nice thing is that, with 4 Fae in, we have 4 units that are helping stack that up, and especially a Rakan 3 onto this board, getting some good shielding down. So pretty good spot as far as stacking up Fae. And you can see just this Flicker Blade Xayah is going crazy on these boards with just all this investment into her. I mean, stage 5 should be the time when this board starts to fall off, right? You would expect a 1-cost reroll to be strong, especially through stage 2 and 3, or really stage 3 into early stage 4, and then like stage 5 is when you start to fall off a cliff and usually just like lose every single fight. But we've already won a few fights. Stage 5, now we have the Trist 2, which is really, really nice. We end up getting Edge of Night, mostly I think just because we wanted the Trist in the spot, but I guess we'll see here. We're also, it looks like he's hovering the Ornn ability here just to see what we're at Forge Power, really pretty far from hitting the next Ornn items. You could consider moving items over to the Rakan. Oftentimes people will just keep the items on Ornn for a really, really long time. The only reason, obviously, to itemize the Rakan here is that, we have 4 Fae and the Fae augment here. So we'll see if he wants to just keep items on Ornn forever or if he just wants to keep this setup going. But still, Xayah doing great damage, just picking up a lot of fights. And yeah, I mean, another win, continuing to stack up those golden fairies, which are just going to allow him to push the next level. You get a lot of gold at the later stages. They actually had to nerf this. I believe it was the last patch or the one before where they actually nerfed the amount of gold that you get from these golden pixies, just because people were saying if you get like a fairy emblem, you can actually just like hit 3-star 4 cost off of it, which is kind of wild. Don't know if we're gonna be able to do that this game because we already had to spend a lot of gold on other stuff. hitting all of our board 3-starred, but hey, we'll see. Rotating into a Vhagar board here. Pretty cool to see. I think we are just going to clear this board for sure. Yeah, I mean, our board is just so good, and top 3 already locked in for Wasianiverson. Just a couple more fights to go here, and it really looks like nothing can stop this board. I mean, the Vhagar reroll board is another 1-cost reroll board. It might be that this is just a lower cap lobby than normal, but I will say, especially with this artifact, the Xayah is looking very good. We do get a Reforger here if we want it. Not really sure what you would... I mean, yeah, I guess you can reforge that that Edge of Night that we got and end up in a pretty good spot here. TG onto the Rakan. The Morello is obviously a little bit awkward, but yeah, we can just finish Bramble here onto the Amumu, and this is going to be our spot for one of the last few fights. I mean, it looked pretty good. Okay, so this is a very, very true and good fast 9 board. So this is a really good example for how well this board does, and kind of looks like we clear them. I mean, that was a very upgraded fast 9 board, and Wasian's board just beat him straight up. That's actually insane work. All right, gonna roll down here, see if we can find something better. Do find the Ivern. One thing I don't love about on Ivern with It's Me Baby is obviously like you have to position, like it's gonna be hard to get an Ivern hex for the Xayah because she already has that hex there. If we do end up getting the bottom right corner hex, then it'll be amazing because she'll have like a ton of hexes. But hey, I mean, still, it's a nice just buff to our entire board. Also, like, what else do you really want to play on this board? Theoretically, you get like Ash in for Hunter, but is Hunter on Trist better than just like buffing up, especially like our tanks here with Ivern? I don't think so. I think this makes a lot of sense, especially if we can get some other hexes. But yeah, I mean, we just have Miku here to beat. We'll see if we can. But I mean, honestly, the board on the enemy side, it's not like this is like any kind of like a slouch of a board. It's very, very upgraded. 5-cost board, has a very nice triple item Kennen and a triple item Draven too. Everything upgraded, and it's just looking like the board cannot do enough damage to get through all of these units. Yeah, Wasianiverson looking like he is just clearing in this spot here. I don't think any of these emblems look amazing. I think we'd rather just take item here. Yep, gonna take Bramble here. We can move well, yeah, we should probably not double Bramble. Oh my god, that is a lot of gold, by the way. And so now we can just continue to roll. Yeah, just move the Bramble here and then move. Okay, Gargoyle into a Mumu. It's awkward because, okay, this is fine. Yeah, just it was awkward because Amumu wasn't getting any aggro, but like the Bramble is going to be really, really nice versus this Draven for sure. All right, potentially last fight here. We'll see if Wasian can finish his win streak. That is a horrifying Kennen, but the Xayah just getting the healing from Faye. I mean, it's so much frontline as well. Oh my god, it's just a masterclass from Wasianiverson showing off this Embiggen augment. I don't know. I'm definitely interested in taking this. In my games, just because like I'm very surprised that this Xayah board was able to outcap this Draven board, and a not weak Draven board by any means. So very, very cool game from Wasianiverson. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch, my Metafy. I'll make the links down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. As always, do I say that twice in every outro? I think I do. Bye.